Welcome to Figure Out Your Life podcast, the podcast where we figure out the answers to life's everyday questions. I'm your host, Toya T, aka Toya T, PhD, aka Dr. T, aka your sister from another mister, aka proud Black alum of Boston Latin School class of 2001 and Columbia College of Columbia University in the city of New York's class of 2005. I'm old. Anyway, hey guys, welcome back. Happy to be here another week, another day, another hour. Still in semi-lockdown, although my city is moving on to phase 2 of the reopening starting on Monday. So I guess I can't say that I'm fully in quarantine, but I'm not going anywhere until there's an actual vaccine. So it's all going to be locked down to me, some version of lockdown and freedom. Anyway, how are y'all? I'm doing well. Not much to update over here. I had 2 reunions that were postponed or canceled that were supposed to happen last week. One was for my 15-year college reunion. It's crazy. Every time I think about it, it's like, I can't believe that I graduated from college 15 years ago. And the other one is a Black alumni reunion for my high school. So I attended the oldest school in the nation, Boston Latin School, established in 1635. That is before the United States of America was even a country. There are a few alum that had the bright idea, which is so great because of 2020. They were calling it Hindsight 2020, and it was going to be an all-class Black reunion of every single alum of the school. And there were several events like culminating up to this reunion date that would have happened last week. And I was planning to attend it and attend my 15-year college reunion, even though they were happening within the same week. I was planning to go to my college reunion, stay for the first few days, and then leave, even if I had to fly. This is how you know these were plans from the past. I was actually planning to fly from New York back to Boston so I could attend, even if it was the same day, like the night of, to attend the Black alumni Hindsight 2020 reunion at my high school. But both of those things were postponed or canceled. I haven't heard of when it would happen again, and I hope they both decide to try to do something, especially for the Black reunion for my high school. So this is where this topic came from, and I felt like I wanted to talk about it because there's quite a few people like me who were supposed to have class reunions this year, and I wanted to talk about what class reunions mean, especially talking about the anxiety and stress surrounding class reunions and why some people might be considering not going and why it seems to matter to us so much, and why I think even though in the age of Facebook and Instagram and all these other social media accounts that have taken away the urgency of going to reunions for the purpose of finding out what's going on with your former classmates, I think that the in-person part still matters, to actually have like one-on-one contact with people. So let me just get into this topic. Let's talk about reunions and what they actually are. Class reunions happen at a 5-year interval until the end of our lives. When I was a young kid and watching these shows or movies like Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, and it's like, oh, it happens after the 10-year or the 20-year, and it's like a big gap and you don't see people for a long time. But these reunions happen in 5-year intervals. And many of us, reunions provoke far more anxiety than they should. Spurring wistful dreams and anticipatory nightmares. Now, most of this is based on the fact that reunions trigger vulnerabilities from our youth. It's common for school reunions to trigger these anxieties about your appearance and your status. I think those are probably number one. I know that's for me, but I'll talk about that in a second. Concerns over who you've married or whether or not you're married, what you have or have not achieved over the years. You can have these anxieties, this stress, these hurts these insecurities that can be real or imagined that have accumulated over the years between your graduation and your reunions. They can be hardest on those who are out of job, just starting their careers, or not yet settled on who they want to become. These anxieties are rooted in some of our oldest and most familiar fears. Fears that we don't measure up, that we haven't lived up to our potential or our promise, that we don't look as good as we used to. I think for women that we are more prone to have these feelings more than men, particularly as we age. But I also think that men aren't any less immune to the competitiveness and sense of being inadequate that reunions bring up for most of us. At the same time, you can have people who have accomplished their goals. They're accomplished professionals, capable managers, CEOs, creators, in healthy relationships. They look good. They got the Jennifer Lopez, I'm 50, but I look like I'm 25 body, skin glowing and everything. They're the Morris Chestnuts of the world who still got a 6-pack abs and can still run the football field and are, successful in their careers. And even they can experience some kind of self-doubt and end up debating maybe for weeks, for months with anyone who listen, whether or not they should attend their reunion, whether that be your high school reunion or your college reunion. Most of us want to forget about our youthful self-conscious emotions that resulted from hormonal changes and social pressures. I know there's quite a few things that I'd like to forget that I did in my past when I was going through puberty or the ends of puberty, where I was fighting eczema and acne and a perm that I shouldn't probably have had in my head in the first place because the hair was breaking off and stuff like that, and social pressures to be in a relationship, not in a relationship, to, have sex, not have sex, take drugs, not take drugs, like all kinds of stuff that goes on. And you make dumb decisions. Trust me, I made a couple of dumb decisions that I wish I could go back in time and just slap myself. Like, girl, don't do that. You don't want to do that. And trust me, it's not going to change the trajectory of your life if you don't do this. I promise you. But years later at a class reunion, those old insecurities get triggered. People start bringing up old stories, and those insecurities rear their ugly head in your imagined judgment from your peers. That inner critic that really isn't the voice of your friends or the popular girl, popular guy, or your class bully, or someone that you might have been competing with. It's always in their voices, and all you're thinking is, what will they think? What will they think of me? Will I be successful enough? Will I look good to them? I mean, that's a big one. For me, my main worries about my college reunion, my 15-year college reunion, was worries about being single still. Like, ooh, girl, like you still single. You still single, especially when so many of my classmates have got married in between the time that we had our last reunion. Over the last 5 years, I've had classmates that have gotten married, have had their first child, had multiple children. They have gone through major things, bought their first home, bought second homes, got a full-on investment portfolio, have been profiled by major media outlets, by our college alumni magazines. Like, this person is the most successful 40 under 40 in media and entertainment and business. This person is CEO or CFO or COO or all kinds of things that I look around and I'm like, what have I been doing? I mean, I think most of you know, and if you go back to my episode on graduate school, figuring out graduate school and depression, you know that I spent a long time in school, okay? Long time. I went straight from college into graduate school, and it took me 10 years to graduate. From the time that I entered to the time that I finished, it took me 10 years. And I felt very behind compared to my peers that went to graduate school, and for those who did not, especially those who did not. And part of that being that, like, I felt like at the end of it, I have a degree, huge student loan debt, and job prospects that would not automatically help me pay off this huge student loan debt and make all that debt accumulation worth it. Also, the fact that I'm single still. Like, damn, girl. My parents, I mean, as much as they say it, but for me, myself, it's like, ooh, even though I've taken a bit of a break because I have been taking time to actually think about what I want, who I want, what kind of relationship I want to be in, and not really wanting to go back to the same old bullshit that I was in before. Now, as I've been locked down, I have had a lot more time to think about, like, what is going on in my love life. I mean, gosh, watching Insecure didn't help. Watching Issa and Lawrence get back together. If you have not reached that episode yet, spoiler alert, too late, sorry, not sorry. Seeing Lawrence and Issa get back together made me just want to date again. I was like, this is exactly why I used to just jump into, anything that just felt good, because I am a hopeless romantic. I am someone who just believes in love, believes that there is a Prince Charming, and not just the one, but like there's plenty of Prince Charmings out there. I mean, we all know there's a Prince Charming, Prince Philip, there's Prince Eric, there's all these princes out there. So there's someone out there, and I was always believing that there is that person that is a good fit for me. And I just haven't found that person yet, or I've met that person and it was just not the right time with that person. And trying to figure out like which one is which, but also having this pandemic happen and being like, okay, this is changing the whole dating game of me being able to meet somebody, because now I'm afraid of getting the Rona if I get too close to someone, literally. Also about being childless, I don't know why. I mean, I have friends who've decided that, children are not in their plans. Well, children are in my plans. They've always been in my plans, and not earlier in my life, but now. And I seem to have been going through some baby fever. It comes and goes. Biological clock is very loud and ticking. Doesn't help that I have a few friends that have had babies this year or last year, and they're just so cute, and them sharing pictures and videos, and I'm like, oh, I want a baby so badly. And Instagram is the worst place to be looking at babies, because you know how that explore page works. Once you look at one thing and like it, every other picture and video is like of what you just looked at. So for me, when I go into my Instagram account, every other video and picture is of some cute, beautiful black baby, and I'm like, oh my god, I just want a baby. Even though right now I can't afford a baby, and I definitely don't have the patience for it. But I mean, that's what pregnancy is for. Like the whole 40 weeks of pregnancy, that's to get you ready, right? And even when it happens, you still ain't ready. But I had some kind of feelings about that because of the fact that I know quite a few of my classmates have had children in between our 10-year and our 15-year, and I'm still here single and childless and feeling kind of left out. Even though I still have a few friends that are in that boat, it's still easy to feel left out of the mommy and daddy group, the parenthood group. Also, I was very worried and anxious about my weight gain. Now, it is a common topic of conversation among my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother not noticing that when she says it out loud and in front of people, that she is hurting my feelings and embarrassing me, because I already know. My mother, well, she's just being my mother. And for me, I have been really struggling with my own body image. And, the fact that as I'm in my mid to late 30s, oof, my birthday's officially a month from now. So I am a month away from 37. It's a lot harder to lose weight at this age than it was when I was in my 20s. It's like everything that I used to do just doesn't work as well. I went on a whole green smoothie cleanse for 10 days, and I think I lost like 1 pound. And I was like, what the hell? Fuck that shit. I'm going to go back to eating. If you didn't work the way that you used to work, you promised me 15 pounds. Really just having issues dealing with. When I graduated, I was this weight. And when I came back for the 10-year, I was definitely heavier. I was about I would like to say about 40 pounds heavier than when I graduated. And then now I've gained even more weight. I've gained probably about like 20 pounds from that time. It's like the visible weight that I don't like. And which makes it even funnier for me when I look at these old pictures and I was like, I really thought that I was fat in these pictures. Like, what the hell? You got to deal with your fat phobia. And I will do an episode on that, but not right now. So I was concerned about, body weight issues, even though I was planning to pick the flyest outfit for my Rent the Runway Unlimited membership and just fully stunt like there's no tomorrow. which is the great thing about Rent the Runway, because as I fluctuate in weight, you can always still find cute things and you don't have to buy something and then find out you can't fit it no more, which sucks. Trust me, it sucks. Someone who's gone through all the sizes so far, it sucks. But I was concerned about that and what people might say or think. And then the whole idea of like crash dieting, that just brought on more anxiety and stress, which for me, I'm a stress eater, so that does not help. Although I will say one thing for my weight gain, I think I brought it upon myself because I spent a lot of years wishing that my breasts and my butt would get bigger. And they definitely did, but they came with some other things that I don't like. I just find that absolutely hilarious. Like boobs at exactly the size that I'd like them to be. And still perky. And butt rounding out real nice. It has lots of material to work with to shape into the bubble booty that I've always wanted. But the rest of the stuff that's come with it, ooh, no, I do not like the extra weight around my face, around my midsection, around my arms, around my back. None of those things. And so I was really much concerned about that, and that added on to my anxiety. And I was also worried about my living situation because most of y'all know I've been living at home as a grown-up, living in my mama house. She reminds me quite often, this is my house, right? Yes, it is, ma'am. It is your house. Okay, it is your house. And next July will be 10 years since I've been back in Boston and living at home with my mama. And my plan, of course, is to move out soon. I have a full-on exit plan because homegirl finally got a job and has some savings and great credit. And now my things to do is to buy a house next year in 2021 and move out my mama's house. That is the plan. And I'm sticking to it. Hold me to it. But it wouldn't have been in time for my 2020 reunion. But if they postpone it to next year, I might have something to share. So my living situation kind of had me worried. My job situation, which luckily all worked out by the end of February. So I would have had an announcement about a new job. But before, the months leading up to it, when they announced it in 2019 of the plans for my 15-year reunion, I was like, oh, girl, I don't know about this. Like, we ain't got a job. We live at home without mama. We gain weight. We ain't got no man. We ain't got no kids. Like, damn, girl, what you gonna come up with? And it's really sad that those all are things that would make me feel so insecure when there's so many other things that I have accomplished in my life. Like, I have a PhD. I have won a diversity award for teaching while I was at my last job. I have paid off my credit cards. I have paid off my student loans to Columbia University of the City of New York. I own that diploma, okay? I don't owe them zippo. I've also paid off my car. I have excellent credit. I'm still alive. I still have 2 healthy parents. I have traveled the world, and I only have 1 more continent to hit before I hit my goal of going to 6 of the 7 continents, of course, excluding Antarctica, because I ain't going there. But yet still very insecure. It's funny when I think about it because on the outside to someone else, my life is very blessed. But for me, it's like, ooh, I'm so worried about what people are going to think, and especially certain classmates that I want to impress. There are certain people that I feel they're judging me, but they're probably not. I only think they're judging me because I am possibly judging them. Mostly people that I feel like I've done wrong in college, all of more than 15 years ago. And I'm like, this person, I gotta show up fly. I gotta show up with the finest of finest men. I gotta have like beautiful children and a great house and all this stuff so that these people can see how amazing I am, so they can't turn up their nose at me and say things about me, which is really just, again, insecurities, my own personal insecurities. These people ain't thinking about me. I'm pretty sure they're not. And they're definitely not thinking about the things I'm thinking about as much as I'm thinking about them. So it's a lot of things. And that is all common. If you feel me, that is all common. I know I'm not alone because, one, I researched this topic and found several articles, including a few in psychologytoday.com, that talk about how common class reunion anxiety and stress is. And for the fact that if you're listening to this, you probably have some yourself, or you just are listening to this to be nosy and to laugh at me. So if you did, enjoy. But if you believe that everyone else is going to be judgmental. Your armor might be up in a form of your own critique of others. I think of your high school or your college reunions can provide you a rare opportunity to gain perspective on your life, not just as a way to say like all the things that you have not accomplished, all the things that you are not or you are no longer, but giving you a chance to attend to some of your unfinished emotional business, being able to tell that person that you always liked that you like them or you respected them, or someone who bullied you, and confronting them and saying like, you did this to me and now I'm just releasing it and letting you know how I feel. There are plenty of opportunities to do that kind of stuff, and it doesn't have to be all negative. Perhaps it takes many years and many reunions to get over the social anxieties and insecurities acquired in school. Now, for me, let me talk about some of my reunions and what I've learned from them. So, my high school reunion, let's go over this. I graduated from high school in 2001, like I said before. I've had 3 reunions so far, a 5th reunion, a 10th, and a 15th. I attended all 3 of them. They're very different. The first one was so fun. It's just 5 years out of high school, 1 year out of college. Like, no one really has anything put together. No one's really married. A few people have gotten married early. Some have started to have babies. But everything is real chill. It's just like, hey, nice to see you. Everyone looks semi-similar to the way they did in high school. Maybe a little bit of the freshman 15, but not that much. So the 5th year, I really enjoyed it. Not much going on there. My 10-year reunion was interesting because I feel like the big numbers attract more people. For my 10-year, a lot more people showed up than the 5th year. So I got to catch up with some folks that I really had not seen in some time. And I was really nervous about it because, one, I was in graduate school. The 5th year reunion, I'd only been in graduate school for 1 year. So it's pretty impressive to say like, oh, I'm in a PhD program. I'm a grad student. And everyone's like some kind of student or finishing off school or starting off their new careers at the 5th year. So there's not really much anxiety to have around that. But the 10-year, when you're supposed to be 10 years out from graduating from high school, and for most people, if they'd gone to get a master's degree or even a medical degree right after college, or law degree, a business degree, any of these degrees, they would have been finished because those programs are usually somewhere between 2 and 3 years. But for PhD programs, they can be as long as you make it or until they kick you out. And so for me, I had planned to finish graduate school, my graduate program in 5 years. Don't know where I came up with that number, but I thought it sounded good. In reality, it didn't work that way. So when I showed up for my 10-year at 28, I was still a graduate student. Didn't help that my best friend, who had also gone through a PhD program, she had by that time completed her degree. And I was very happy for her, very proud of her, very, very proud of her. And it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy because I was there. I was there going through it with her. And it just kind of felt, I'll tell you right now, I never said it to her and I wouldn't have really said it out loud, but I felt really inadequate or a bit of a failure standing next to her because, of course, we showed up together. And, you know, everyone's like, oh, my gosh, how are you guys doing? And you know, she has her degree and I'm still chipping away at this program. And I was living here. Good gosh, I think I was. Yes, I had just moved back to Boston. So that 10-year reunion was a bit rough. Though no one had said anything like, oh, what's taking you so long? But in my mind, that's what's running through my mind. Even though I knew exactly where I was in my process and that I was still continuously working towards finishing my degree. It just felt like a blow to my esteem because I told myself when I moved out when I was 18 and packed up most of my stuff and put it into the back of my mom and my dad's car, and they dropped me off at Columbia University's campus and said, good luck, stay safe and do well. I had no intentions of ever moving back to Boston ever again in my life. Yes, come and visit. Yes, spend summer vacations and whatever, but I was not planning to be here as long as I've been here. And so that first year when I went to that 10-year reunion, and it's like, yeah, I'm still in graduate school. No, I'm not married. Ain't got no man, got no kids, living at home. It just felt really bad. But I had a really good time at that reunion, even with all those insecurities. It was good to see my friends. It was very fun. It was a good night. Now, my 15 year, at this point, it was fun and relaxing. You know why? Because I had finished my PhD program. So I had finally accomplished this long standing goal that I had had, and I felt very accomplished and proud of myself. And I came in there very relaxed. I had been working out. I lost some weight. I was feeling good. Hair was looking good. Skin popping. It was nice to see people and get together and speak to folks. It was interesting because less people showed up, but it was still a mix of people that I was really friends with in high school and people that I had class with in high school and people that I didn't really know at all. And it was a nice atmosphere. I talked to a lot more people that I did not really talk to in high school. Like, we had classes together, but it was interesting to see people that I didn't necessarily consider friends in high school, just classmates who I kept in contact with, via Facebook, who came up to me and were very well aware of what I was doing with my life and were congratulating me on some of my accomplishments. And I'm like, wow, this is something that I never expected. And I really enjoyed getting to know some of my classmates that I wasn't friends with in high school. Another thing that adds on top of that was there was a few of my classmates that have died since we graduated from high school. And it was very sobering to see that it wasn't just like one or two, but they had enough for a complete memoriam of several students that had died since we graduated. And I think also there was another classmate that was currently at that time fighting cancer, and it really hit in like, this is life. And you just have to enjoy the times that you have now. That's one thing I took away from that 15 year, and next year will be my 20th, and I look forward to that one. So I didn't even mention, for those who don't know, the unique factor of my school, Boston Latin School, it's a public college preparatory school where you can only get admission to it through an exam, and you can only enter in the 7th and the 9th grade. So you'll have some people that have been in the school for 6 years and some people who have been in the program for 4 years. I was one of the people that was in there for 6 years, and that's usually the bigger part of the class. The ones that come in the 9th grade are a smaller class of students, and they have their own kind of experiences. But for me, I was in there full on 6 years, and I've known many of the people at these reunions for a very long time, since we were like 12, some people 11, 13 years old. So I feel like meeting up with them, it's a little bit different than like college, where we only had 4 years together. Then after that, like, people go off and, do adult things and may not keep in touch as well. So for my college reunions, it was a whole nother beast. I didn't attend my 5th year college reunion because I was in Atlanta at the time working on my dissertation research, and I couldn't afford to fly to New York for a weekend. Not at all. I could barely afford to fly home to Boston for Thanksgiving that same year, and I had to use like all of my American Airlines points that, of course, cost more than it usually would because it was a holiday season. But I just couldn't imagine being alone for Thanksgiving. So I found my way home, but I couldn't afford to go to my 5th year reunion that year. And I heard that it was nice. It wasn't too many people, but from the ones that I knew that went, they said that they enjoyed it, and they met up at one of the bars that we all used to go to underage and of age, and had some drinks there. And I was like, oh, that'd been cool to go to, but I couldn't go. The 10 year, I was like, I'm definitely going to be there because, again, the big number. So the 10 year was particularly special for me because, unlike my 10 year reunion for high school, my 10 year reunion for college had hit at the right time, right when I graduated. I mean, exactly 2 days after I graduated from graduate school. I had been hooded and doctored. Okay. And I showed up to that reunion with way less anxiety because I was Dr. Latoya Chantel Tavernier, PhD. Freshly hooded. Just happened. Just posted the pictures on Instagram, showed you the videos. Like, it was definitely something. I had accomplished something major. And I got a lot of congratulations from some of my former suite mates, some of my classmates, and it was good. It was good to see people and also be able to celebrate that great accomplishment. Now, I was still a bit self-conscious about the fact that I was single and didn't have no kids, but I felt at that point like, I got a DR in front of my name and not an MRS. Okay. I think that's good enough for now. But I was still hyper aware of those of my classmates that showed up with their wives or their husbands and were pregnant or, had kids to show off. And I was just like, that'd be nice. That'd be real nice. Really nice. Stop looking like a creepy toy. Stop looking at them. Stop staring. Oh my gosh. And I still had some insecurities about my body, which was interesting because one of my classmates made a comment about my breasts. And she was like, oh, you wearing a shirt? I was wearing this halter top. It's cute, like kente cloth, like African print, halter top. And I was wearing a bra then. She was like, oh, your breasts, like, they just stay up there. And mine's, I couldn't do that like that. And I was like, is she making a dig or is she giving me a compliment? And I just said thank you, but it stuck with me mainly for the fact that this was someone I was not friends with while I was in college. It's just someone who was an associate. But the 10 year for college was definitely different. And my 15th, as I mentioned before, was supposed to be last week. And I was a bit concerned. I was going to show up completely dressed to the nines to bolster myself because of insecurities about my body, which I'm projecting. I was planning to do a lot of things to hide some of my insecurities. But now that it's not happening and that it got postponed, they still want to try to do a virtual reunion. I'm not interested in doing no Zoom tour of campus. I'm not trying to go to none of these activities over Zoom. Like, I wanted to see people in person. But now that it's not happening, I feel a bit of relief, but I realize now that I have really nothing to be insecure about. I'm alive, healthy. I graduated from the same school that you did, and everyone's paths are different. No one's lives are perfect. And I don't know why I expect my life to be perfect in order for people to respect me and value me, because those things, if you take them away, I'm still deserving of respect and love. I still have value. I think we need to all remember the judge is in your own head, not in the minds of your former classmates. Reunions are about connecting. The connection is what people really want and need. And that's why they still exist. In the era of Facebook, you cannot replace human interaction. You cannot replace human to human connection. Being able to see a classmate and sit down and talk. That is something that cannot be replaced by just reading their Facebook status and saying congratulations. Like, it's something different to being able to connect. And that's what reunions do. And I hope for others like myself that have had their reunions postponed, that you still find a way to connect with your former classmates and to reflect on what have you learned about yourself, what have you accomplished in the years since you have graduated. And with that, I am done with this section. So let's move on to figure this out. And this is going to be a real short one. If you can figure this out for me. Why is 45 intellectually ignorant? Like, on the intellectual scale, he is on the lower ends, right? Even though he's had all of the opportunities and he went to some of the best schools. In terms of intellect, he is a dud. But when it comes to pettiness, he is a genius. He is a king of petty. And why do I say that? Because of the fact that his first rally, since things had to shut down because of the Rona, is going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Which, it's like, okay, it could be in Tulsa. Okay, yeah. Although, from what I've read, Oklahoma is a very much red state. He had carried it with significant points over Hillary Clinton, and probably would have carried it again because they have been solidly red for quite some time. But he decides to go there, and it's like, okay, well, there are a lot of people have been talking about Tulsa. The Tulsa race massacre that happened on May 31st to June 1st of 1921, where a white mob attacked residents and homes and businesses in the predominantly black sector of Tulsa called Black Wall Street. And if you watch the show Watchmen, they talk a lot about the history of the Tulsa massacre. And for me, I'd heard of Black Wall Street and the destruction of it, but I've learned a lot more about it since I watched Watchmen and some history from there, and then dug in a little bit deeper for myself. And then I also have a friend who opened up a art gallery in Tulsa, in his hometown of Tulsa, called the Black Wall Street Gallery. And he does a lot of stuff regarding healing and conciliation in Tulsa and trying to rebuild this historically Black area of Tulsa through art, business, and community events. And so I'm like, okay, Tulsa's a kind of interesting pick because of what I've learned about Tulsa recently. But then to find out that this mofo was going to have it on Juneteenth, oh my gosh, then I knew that it was not just happenstance. It wasn't just a coincidence. He is trolling Black America. That is what he's doing. He could have had it anywhere. I know the governor of Georgia, who really loves him and would massage all of his testicles for him if he came down there. He would have been glad to have had the first rally happen in Georgia, would have opened arms for him. But no, he decides to go to Tulsa, the site of this horrific massacre that just had an anniversary, and plans to do it on Juneteenth, which is the Freedom Day or Emancipation Day celebrated by Black people in the U.S., originally in Texas. It commemorates the announcement of abolition of slavery and emancipation of slaves on June 19th, 1865. The reason why it's significant is because it took so long since the time that Lincoln freed the slaves for the enslaved Africans in the state of Texas on these plantations to find out that they were free. They were the last ones to find out. That was the Emancipation Day to commemorate that everybody's free. We's free now. And this mofo decides that he wants to have his first rally on this black day in America, especially with everything that's going on. And this mofo decides to go ahead and try to taint the day by having one of his racist rallies full of all of his ass kissers at this rally to talk nonsense and probably talk about the Black Lives Matter movement and how he doesn't support it and how he supports white supremacists and the protests are bad and how he plans to use law and order and the military against American citizens on American soil, and how he's the greatest president ever and he's, found the cure to COVID, even though he did not. All these things I'm pretty sure he's going to say during his racist rally. But to have it on Juneteenth in a city that has such a dark past with race, that he would choose then to do so. I mean, like, what the hell? How is he so good at pettiness? I mean, gosh, he is the king of petty and the emperor of trolls. I swear to God, I want you to tell me, how is he so good at being so petty, but so far from being actually intelligent and smart? Let me know if you know. The man uses the vocabulary of a third grader. I wouldn't say a fifth grader because definitely fifth graders have a better vocabulary than he does. And I know I did when I was in the fifth grade because my behind knew that I wanted to go to Columbia University in the city of New York since I was in the fifth grade and I was 10 years old. So I know he is not smarter than a fifth grader, but at third grade, I think I'll still eat my boogies. So I'm just saying he has the vocabulary of a third grader, maybe a second grader, and maybe a kindergartner, someone who got passed along. That's what he has the vocabulary of and the intellectual capacity to understand things. Same thing there, but somehow he has all the brain power. He probably uses his entire brain and is able to be as petty as he wants to be. And it's not a coincidence. The fact that Dan Rather, if you've seen the tweet, pointed out that this dude knows exactly what he's doing. I know that he is intellectually the pettiest, and I don't understand how it works so well in one way and not so well in the other way. And if you can figure that out for me, you let me know. And with that, I am done. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit different. I wanted to keep it light because I felt that, we needed it. I needed it personally. And so if you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and share it with your friends. 3 would be nice because that's my favorite number. If you haven't done so already, please rate and review this podcast. Wherever you are listening to this will be super helpful. This is how you can support me because it allows for other people to find my podcast so it can grow. That's my end goal here, to create this community of figure out your lifers. Please go ahead and do that. Also, if you have missed out on your reunions, hit me up and let me know where you graduated from when you did. And what were you looking forward to for your reunion? Were you going to go? Were you not going to go? Hit me up in the DMs on the podcast Instagram page, which is Figure Out Your Life Pod, or you can email me at Toya T at figureoutyourlifeblog.com, or you can sign up for the newsletter. You can find it at figureoutyourlifeblog.com/newsletter. newsletter, sign up today and become a part of the tribe. Lastly, I hope you guys all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I hope you guys stay healthy, stay blessed, and stay connected. And I will talk to you guys later.